Hey YouTube family, we are back. In this video, we're going to discuss how to bend reality to your will. So if you're really into manifesting, okay, one of the things you have to understand is you have to believe you can bend reality to your will, because everything comes down to the law of belief. Okay, what you believe to be true for you in your world has to happen to you. So we can bend reality to our will, just like the movie The Matrix. Now, the movie The Matrix really kind of spurred that our world is a simulation. And this comes from Neville Goddard as well. Like, what I mean by that, your world is a simulation, meaning there's nothing true and definite in your world. You can change it, you can alter it, and it's altered by your law of belief. So in this video, that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss how to bend reality at your will, how to get and succeed and get everything you want in your life. And we're going to go over 6 rules, okay, how to do this. And these 6 rules, it's not about, Chad, just tell me the best rule here. No, we're going to go over 6, and 6 of these work in unison together. Okay, they all work together. It's not about one over the other. You have to do all 6 of these. You have to live in harmony with all 6 of these things in order to bend reality at your will, in order to live a life that's on your terms. This is what we're talking about. You want to live a life on your terms. What you say to be done has to be done unto you. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to discuss today. So let's get rocking and rolling. Now we're going to start off with a verse, because this verse kind of sums up everything. And I'm going to share some verses with you that really holds kind of dear to that we can bend reality. What we say to be true, the power of our tongue, what we say to be true has to happen to us, good or bad. So Matthew chapter 17, verse 20, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Wow. Now, if you have faith as a mustard seed, now a mustard seed is super, super tiny. It's like a grain of rice. Okay, it might even be smaller than a grain of rice. If you have faith as a grain of rice, okay, faith means belief. Okay, if you have a belief as a grain of rice, you can say to this mountain, if you wish to move, and it has to move. You can say to this mountain to crumble into the sea, and it has to listen to you. Okay, these are scriptures coming from, when you look at law of attraction, law of assumption, all these rules, okay, are coming from the Bible. This is the power that we have. This is why I said right in the beginning, the law of belief. Okay, what you believe to be true unto you has to happen, has to manifest in your 3D world. Let me give you a few more, then we'll get started here, because we have a lot to cover, and I don't want to get too long-winded here. Mark chapter 9, verse 23, everything is possible for one who believes. If you believe it to be true, it has to come to you. And it doesn't matter. Remember, universal laws don't play favorites. You have to understand this. There's no bias to universal laws. There's no bias to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind just gives you what you give it. Okay, if you give it a lie, well, it's going to produce that lie in your 3D world. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. It's true for you, and that's how your subconscious mind works. A couple more here. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Your tongue, your words, okay, what you say to other people, okay, what you say about yourself, what you're murmuring to yourself all day long, has the power of life or death. Okay, has the power of produce fruits in your life, and has the power to kill all the fruits in your life, if you get what I'm saying. Now, rule number 1 here is you have to be clear on what you want. And this isn't a cliche. I'm going to put a spin on this. You might sit there and say, well, Chad, I know that. You have to be clear on what you want. You have to make a decision on what you want. You have to make a committed decision on what you want. But, okay, but are you really doing that? Okay, well, look at it this way. If you play baseball, okay, rule number 1 here is you're stepping up in a batter cage and you're getting ready to hit that ball, but you haven't hit the ball yet. The only way you hit the ball is if you make a committed decision and you don't change your mind. So this is how you bend reality at your will, is you make a decision. You don't stop in that decision. You don't give up on that decision. You make a committed decision. That's what a committed decision means. Is I make a decision of what I say has to happen to me, and I don't give up. I don't give in. This is what Napoleon Hill means if you read Think and Grow Rich. If you read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill said you have to have a burning desire and you have to burn all your bridges behind you. This is what he really means, is you have to make a decision on what you want. And this is the only thing you want, and you're not changing your mind until that happens to you. Neville Goddard said the same thing, but he said it in a different way. He said, you set an intention and you don't give up. You persist until your intention comes true for you. And Neville Goddard takes it a step further. He says, like, in his entire life, he's never seen the law of assumption fail. He's never seen it fail. He's never seen someone not get what they want. Okay, but he does say the only way you don't get what you want is when you give up and throw in the towel. So the first rule here, when you want to bend reality at your will, you want to live the life on your demand, on what you say, you have to start making decisions, and you don't back down with these decisions. You have to start setting standards and boundaries for your life. You have to start, if you want to be a millionaire, you act as a millionaire, but a millionaire is going to be way more decisive than you are. They're going to make decisions faster than you are. They're going to stick to them until they happen. Okay, they're going to have standards for their life, and they're going to have boundaries for their life, and they don't mind when someone violates those standards and someone violates those boundaries. They're going to confront it. That's what they're going to do. That's what successful people do. That's what millionaires do. Okay, that's what you have to understand. Okay, so let me give you an example, then we'll move on to rule number 2. Okay. When I say what I say has to happen, if I want to buy a house and I say I bought a house at the Orchard in Waukegan, I bought the biggest plot. The plot is over 1,000 square meters. I got the biggest plot there. I bought it during the development stage. What that means is I bought it before they started building it. That way, I have 100% choice on how I want it built and how I want it done and everything on the inside. And on top of that, I got the best price there. They gave me the best price. Okay, let's say, I'll give you one more example. Let's say YouTube. Okay, I can set a decision on YouTube. It doesn't matter when I film the videos. It doesn't matter where I film the videos. It doesn't matter if I'm walking on the beach, I'm sitting in my little cubby hole right here. It doesn't matter if I'm doing 1 camera or 2 cameras. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting on the toilet doing a video. Everybody's going to like my videos. My videos are going to go viral. They're going to be popular. People's going to understand them and get the most out of them. Okay, that's why I say that's what has to happen. Okay, that's how you bend reality at will, is because what you do is you start small. Okay, you start small and you work up to big. Okay, this is what I want you to do. And this is what the takeaway I want you to do here is you have to start small. And what I mean by that is it could start something simple as when I go out to eat, this is a place I want to eat. And I'm going to get the best service. I'm going to get the VIP service and order what you want. Okay, if you order a steak and you order it medium rare and it comes to your table and it's obviously well done. Okay, that's a standard, that's a boundary. So you call the waiter over and say, hey, can you remake this if I ordered it medium rare and you brought it to me well done? Because you have to position yourself, listen to this, you have to position yourself that what you say you always get. And you do this with small little things throughout your life. You do this small little things throughout your day. Rule 2 is act like it's already happened. In other words, it's like Neville Goddard. Live in the end. Okay, you act as if. Okay, if you want to be a multimillionaire, okay, how would a multimillionaire act? What would you be doing all day long? What types of decisions would you be making? What would you be thinking about? Okay, if you want your dream house, for example, you act as if you already have your dream house. You're already living in your dream house. You go straight to the end. It's already happened. Okay, so in other words, if you're already living in your dream house, okay, let's play real here. Let's say right now, and you tell me, Chad, I'm already living in my dream house. Okay, so if you're already living in your dream house, would you be running around looking for a real estate person? Would you be driving around looking for another house? Probably not. Okay. Would you be going online, going to Google and looking up other properties where you're going to build your dream house if you're already living in your dream house? You're not going to be doing those things. Okay. The same way for me. I'm on a long-term visa here in Thailand. Okay. But if I'm already on a long-term visa, I'm not going to be searching for other visas when I'm already on a long-term visa. It doesn't make any sense. If I'm a millionaire, okay, I'm not going to be looking for a job on how to make more money because I already have the money. Make sense? I'm not going to be going to bed at night listening to I Am a Millionaire meditations when I already have millions of dollars in the bank. I'm not going to be doing that shit. Okay, you have to understand this. Okay, so your actions you're taking during the day, all they're doing is really contradicting you actually living the in and acting as if. This is so important. This goes along with rule number one. Okay, rule number one is you make a decision, you're firm on it, you don't sway, you don't change your mind until it happens. And this trains your subconscious mind, but you're training your subconscious mind where, when Chad says something, it always happens. When Chad said he wants something, he always gets it. Okay. Then part two to this is whatever you want, you go straight to the end and you already have it. And throughout your day, you carry yourself as if it's already done. So with this one, let's end this one with a scripture. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you receive it and it will be yours. Mark chapter 11, verse 24. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you receive it. What that means is you live in the end. You believe you already have it. So when you come in prayer, you ask, believe, receive. What that really means is when you ask for it, you believe you already have it, and it has to be given to you. Listen to this. It has to be given to you by law. It has to be given to you by the promises of God. Remember, it's a law of being. It's a law of belief. Okay, abundance is your birthright. God is within you. Heaven is within you. Okay, the Holy Spirit is within inside you. Okay, if God is inside you, you have the same power of God. And this is the reason why, if I have the same power of God, and even Jesus in the New Testament told his disciples with all the miracles he performed, that you can do whatever I can do, and you can do even more. So you can bend reality at your will. You can have anything you want. You just have to believe it and believe that you can do it and not give up. Hang in there and make a decision. Live in the end. Act as if. Now let's move on to part three here. Okay, part three here is you have to start to rewire your beliefs. Okay, in a couple ways you can do this. Okay, one, you have to understand it's the law of belief, it's the law of being. Okay, I said this right in the beginning of the video. What you believe to be true for you has to be shown to you in your 3D world. It has to be proven to you. This is why nobody's wrong. Okay, even if you argue with me or debate with me about this video, well, Chad, you can't do this. Chad, you can't bend reality at your will. Things are just going to happen. Okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this bad thing happens? Okay, but when it comes down to that, what you believe to be true is proven to you in your world. What I believe to be true is proven to me. So in essence, we're both right because the law of the belief plays no favorites. It's what I believe to be true has to be shown to me, and what you believe to be true has to be shown to you. If you believe that you have to grow up in poverty, that's what's going to be shown to you. If you murmur all day long negativity, you murmur that you hate your job, you hate your boss, you get in arguments with your boss, you can't never get ahead. Every time you go out and get in your car, you have a flat tire, you're late for work, you're stuck in traffic, you get up and stub your toe. Okay. And when you stub your toe, it feels like you flipping and ripped it off from your foot. Okay. And what you're telling yourself all day long is really just the law of karma. And it's happening in your world over and over and over again. And it's happening in similar situations over and over and over. Okay. You have to start becoming aware of this so you can start rewiring your brain. Now, how do we do this? Now, part of it is affirmations, what we're telling ourselves. Our mind's going to go down the gutter, okay? Especially in the beginning when we start doing this, okay? When we start doing this and you start changing your identity, you want to start being authentic, you're making decisions, you're trying to make decisions and stick to them. And maybe you're coming from that indecisive, okay? You're very indecisive. Okay, you've never made decisions in your life and stuck to them. You always change your mind. And this time you're going to stick to them. Okay, but what's going to happen? That old identity, that old self is going to work against you. You have to understand this. Okay, so when this old self, your old identity works against you, this is what you need to do. For one, you need to have a group of affirmations, robotic affirmations, things that you tell yourself that will get your mind focused back on your path. Okay, if you always get anxiety about spending money, you have an affirmation is like, money always comes to me in abundance. Money comes to me in avalanches. Every time I spend money, it comes back to me double. God supplies all my needs. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur and every time you work, you sit down and have sweats and you're working really hard and you're stressed out about trying to make things happen. But my business is booming. Everybody wants to work for me. You're calling the unseen into the scene. Even Wallace Waddle says this, even if you're surrounded by poverty, your mind is of wealth. Even if you're surrounded by disease and cancer and illness, your mind is a center of health. Okay, this is what it means about being a mastermind. This is what it means that you're really in control of your thoughts. Okay, but you have to understand a fight's going to be on when you start changing your identity and trying to move into the right direction. Another part two to this, how to rewire, is you have to revise your day. Okay. Now, Neville Goddard kind of coined this phrase, the revision technique, revising your day. All this means is if sometimes we're human. Okay. Even for myself, I'm not going to handle every situation like I should. Okay. You're not going to handle every situation perfectly like you should. Okay. Things are not always going to go your way, and that's okay. But what happens is you don't bring no negative energy to it. You bring no energy whatsoever. You realize my world's a simulation. You realize that I can bend reality at my will. What I see in my imagination, okay, has to come to me. Okay. But because that's what's coming to me right now, good or bad. Things I like and things I don't like. So when things happen I don't like, I revise it. Okay. And don't make this harder than what it is. You can revise anytime during the day. I can take 2 seconds and be walking, be doing something, and just sit back, close my eyes, take 2 seconds to go inside my imagination, revise that scene how I wanted it to go, then open my eyes and move on with my day. Take 2 seconds. I could lay down 5 or 10 minutes before I go to bed and do the same thing. Look back at my day, and anything that I didn't like, I revise it. Okay, I revise it how I wanted it to go, or it didn't happen. Maybe you got into an argument with your spouse. Okay, you can go in and that argument didn't happen, or you go in and you handle that argument perfectly. And you communicated perfectly, because you have to understand this stuff really, really works, because again, what you see in your imagination, you have to understand this, what you see in your imagination. Okay. This is the confidence you have to have. If you can see it in your imagination, if you can go in your imagination and see yourself doing it, you can have it 100%. That's your 4D world. You need to live in your 4D world until you actually see it and it manifests in your 3D world. But most of the time, okay, I'll give you this hint really quick. Most of the time when I have manifested, okay, big things, okay, I always feel weird when something comes into my life, because it always feels like I already had it. Because I did already have it. If you see it in your imagination, it's already yours. You already done it. That's what you have to understand. Even Abdullah told Neville Goddard this. Okay, if you don't know Abdullah mentored and coached Neville Goddard. Okay, so even Abdullah told Neville Goddard this. Is what you see in your imagination, it's already happened to you. It's already completed. You already have it. You already done it. Okay, that's what you have to understand. That's what you have to firmly believe. You might not believe it right now. Okay, you might just be chewing on this. Okay, this might take a little bit more work for you. You might have to listen to more stuff until you firmly believe that imagination creates reality. What I imagine has to happen to me. This is why Neville Goddard Listen, this is why Neville Goddard came up with the ladder technique. A lot of people ask me this question. What's the purpose of the ladder technique? The whole purpose of the ladder technique is to prove to you what you think about, or what you think about right before you go to sleep, has to occur in your 3D world. It has to happen. Imagination creates reality. Law of assumption, what you assume to be has to happen to you. Okay, that's all it is. All it is a test to prove to you that it works. Okay, that's the ladder technique. But the ladder technique could be a cup of coffee. Okay, it could be dinner. It could be pizza. It could be whatever you want it to be. It could be $1 million. And it works the same way. What you assume to be has to come to you in your life. Now, step 4 is probably my favorite and my favorite topic. Now, step 4 is you have to take inspired action. Okay. The reason why I love this is, every time we talk about law of attraction, every time we talk about law of assumption, every time we talk about this material, even manifesting, and not even going down the rabbit hole of you bending reality at your will. You can have anything you want, anything you can hold in your mind, you can have it. You can live your life in your terms. But every time we talk about this subject, I always get a comment here and there that says, well, Chad, you can't just sit back and meditate. You can't just go to sleep at night and things just fall in your lap. You have to take action. And it's really always coming from somebody that they're really not living life on their terms. They really haven't figured out how to get things to work for them. Okay. And that's okay. Okay. They're learning. Everybody's learning. Everybody's at a different stage. And again, like I said, whatever you believe to be true is true for you. Whatever I believe to be true is true for me. That's the law of being, law of belief. But what do I mean by inspired action? Now, usually when I answer those comments, because I always answer my comments, I think you guys know that. Unless one here and there gets lost. But I do agree to some point. Yes, we have to take action. I don't disagree with that. Okay, but we have to take inspired action. What do I mean by this? Inspired action is, I don't really like to call it inspired action. I really like to call it intuitive action. Okay, you're going to have, when you make a decision about what you want and you live in the end, and at the same time, you develop affirmations that work around yourself. Maybe you're doing small little meditations that kind of help you keep, throughout the day. Maybe you scatter it throughout the day to kind of help you stay living the end, stay positive, stay focused on what you want. Maybe you created a bedtime routine, laying down, going inside your imagination, almost like the Neville Goddard technique. Okay, this is what you need to do. You don't focus on the how. Okay. You don't focus on how it's going to happen, because once you focus on the how, okay, you're giving up your control. Remember in the Bible, okay, God says, I forget what scripture it comes from, but God says, my ways are better than your ways. My thoughts are better than your thoughts. Okay. This is why we let go. This is why we have no attachment to things, is because our mind is the earthly mind. Our mind is a conscious mind. Our mind, when you're trying to buy $1 million house, your conscious mind is trying to figure out, well, how in the hell can I do this? Like, how can I get the down payment? What type of job do I need to have? I got to need a new job. And your mind's going wild trying to figure it out, but you're not giving it up. You're not giving up that attachment. You're not letting it go, and just let God do his work. Okay. Let the universe do its work. Okay. Because the universe is going to bring it to you in a way that seems impossible. Okay. This is how we bend reality at our will. Okay. Things that come into our life is almost like a miracle. They happen at the right time. Okay. But you have to take inspired action. Okay. Because sooner or later, when you only focus on making a decision, when you only focus on living the end, you only focus on you have your bedtime routine, when your mind goes in the gutter, you have an affirmation to pull yourself out of it. You only focus on that. When you only focus on it and you really let it go, what's going to end up happening? You're going to have an intuitive idea to do something. You're going to have an intuitive idea to go somewhere. You're going to have a gut feeling to do something. You're going to have your light bulb's going to pop on and say, oh, that's a great idea. I should go do that. And that takes you to your goal. Okay. It might take you directly there, or it could be a puzzle piece or a stepping stone. Once you follow that intuition, then once you go there and you follow it, then you have another gut feeling, another intuition to take you there. So when we take action, this is the walk away here. When you take action, you have to take inspired, intuitive action. You just don't take action. What most of you are doing, the mistake that you're making here is you're taking forced action. Remember, when you're taking forced action, several things are happening here. Remember, force negates. When you're trying to force something to happen, it repels from you. It stays away from you. You're like, you're blocking here, you're blocking there. Okay, you're just keeping things away from you, but you're trying to force it to happen. And you might argue with me. You might sit there and say, well, Chad, I'm not trying to force things to happen. I'm not creating friction. Okay. But in another way of explaining this, when you take forced action, okay, what you're really doing deep down, you're trying to figure out the how, aren't you? You're trying to figure out, how am I going to get the money? Okay. If you want to buy a house, you go into the how zone. You don't just give it up and not be attached to it. And who cares? Who gives a fuck how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Okay. You go into the how zone and you start working tons of hours. You start sweating. You start getting anxiety because what you're trying to do, you're trying to figure out the how, or you're trying to make more money. Okay. You're trying to figure it out. Okay. You can't play games with the universe. You can't play games with God. You can't fool or manipulate God. Okay. You can't fool or manipulate your subconscious mind. Okay. It knows you better than you know it. Okay, this is the law of being. Who you're being is being reflected to you like a mirror. Okay, your 3D world, what's happening in your 3D world in present moment is exactly like a mirror. And what the mirror is just what's going on inside you. What you're thinking about all day long is what you're seeing. That's the mirror effect. So to wrap up this rule is take inspired, intuitive action. You let everything go. Okay, it might be even several days before anything even comes to you. And your whole job up to this point, you make a decision, you say what's going to happen, you live in the end, you act as if, you go straight to the end, and you carry yourself day by day, each day, like you already have what you want. Okay. At that point, you've developed affirmations, little routines that because your mind's going to go down the gutter, your old version of you, your old identity is going to fight against you. And you have little things that you say that pull you back, get you focused. But your whole point at that point, you let it go. Those three things I gave you right there, that's the only thing you focus on. And sooner or later, you're going to have an intuition, a gut feeling to do something, an idea that pops in your head, and you have to do it. You have to follow it. Okay. That's the type of action that you take. You don't take forced action. Now, step 5 is trust the process. And I kind of been leading up to this is you have to trust the process. You have to let it go. What does it mean to really trust? Okay. If you remember, when we go back to scripture, okay, I love this scripture. Again, I can't tell you where it comes from, but it says, have faith as a child. Okay, have belief as a child. Okay, trust like a child. Okay, when you were as small back as you can remember, okay, you trusted your parents. You believed in your parents. If you asked your parents for something, you just trusted they're gonna deliver it to you. You just expected that you're gonna get what you want as a kid. You just 110% trust, okay, at that time in your life. You have to do the same thing. And this is going to be hard. Your whole identity, your whole old identity is going to push against you. You have to trust the process, let it go, and not be attached to it, okay? And this is the exercise I really want you to do. And it's not really an exercise, but I really want you to think back and take a moment here and think back during a time that you manifested something in your life. It could be something small, like a cup of coffee, the ladder technique. Okay, maybe you did the ladder technique and it worked for you. Okay, maybe you manifested a parking space. Maybe you manifested something big in your life. But I want you to go back in that time that you got what you wanted, you manifested something. And I want you to really think about your state at that time. What was your state? What were you thinking? Okay, what were you doing? Because this is what I can tell you. When I do this and I do this exercise, and I'm in the right moment, and sometimes we have to wait for the right moment to do this. Okay, we can't just like get right into it sometimes. But every time I do this, when things come to me, it's always when I completely let it go. I forgot about it. I had no attachment to it. Okay. And another thing I realized is, well, once I manifested something, once you really have something for real, not playing pretend here, once you really have something for real, isn't it weird? Like, you don't think about it. You don't think about it every single day. You don't go to bed at night and think about it. Okay. You don't. It's almost out of sight, out of mind. And when you do think about it, what do you do? When I do think about it, I'm grateful for it. I have a grateful heart. I might say thank you. Okay, I'm really grateful for it coming into my life. That's the exercise I want you to do, because you're going to learn a lot by what you're doing by doing that. And let's end it with this verse, with this step is, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8. I did say this verse in Chadnese in my own way earlier on. But this is what it means, is when you fully trust the process, you fully let it go, and God is saying to you, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Okay? That the universe, God, his ways are better than your ways. Okay, that's what it means. When you let go, you open up the universe to bring it at an angle that you're not even thinking about. Okay, when you start controlling the how, and you're thinking, oh, it can come over here, it can come over here, maybe it can come over here, you're giving it 3 directions. But how you bend reality at your will, it could come 1,000 different ways to you. You have to understand that. And when you're only focused on this one way, one angle, or 2 angles it coming into you, okay, you're limiting yourself, you're limiting your powers, and you're limiting God. You're limiting the universe. You're limiting your subconscious mind to happen to you. Oh, makes sense? So rule number 6 is the law of being, the law of belief. This is what we have to understand. What you believe to be true is proven to you in your reality, whatever it is. Okay, when you talk about the subconscious mind here, your subconscious mind doesn't play favorites. Your subconscious mind isn't analytical. Your subconscious mind isn't trying to figure out what's true or false. Your subconscious mind isn't trying to figure out what's best for you. Like my subconscious mind, it's not trying to figure out what's best for Chad, what's not best for Chad. That's my conscious mind. It's not my subconscious mind. This is how exactly your subconscious mind works. It gives you what you give it. Okay, what you're thinking about all day long, what you're imagining all day long, that's what's coming to your life. That's what's influencing your subconscious mind. But your subconscious mind is thinking like, well, Chad keeps on thinking about this. He must love it. And that's what it gives it. That's what it gives you. Okay, your subconscious mind doesn't play favorites. It doesn't like this person over here more than it likes you. Okay, it's your law of being, your law of thoughts, your law of belief. What you believe, what your secret thoughts are, what your secret beliefs are, that's what you're seeing in your 3D world. That's what you're seeing in your life right now. This is what I'm telling you. You can change it. You can bend reality at your will. You can have anything you want, because once you make a decision and you stick to it, you don't change your mind, and you envision it to be true, what you're thinking about all day long has to occur in your world. You have to understand this. If you can see it in your imagination, it has to happen to you. Because once you see it in your imagination, it's already occurred. This is what Abdullah told Neville Goddard. Okay, I'll tell you one story here really fast about Neville Goddard and Abdullah. Okay, when Neville Goddard wanted to travel to Barbados, he lived at New York at the time. This is during the Great Depression. He was broke at the time. He had no money to travel. So he had really no means to get over to Barbados, but he wanted to go because he hasn't been there for years. And it was around, I believe it was around Christmas time. He wanted to go home to see his family. And it started to kind of come into fruition. Okay, but there was one little snag in here. Okay, he was going to go on a charter boat, but the charter boat said, yes, we can take you, but you have to go 3rd class, not 1st class. But you see, when Abdullah worked with Neville, when he influenced his subconscious mind, when he influenced his imagination, he did the imagination techniques before bed. Okay, he went to Barbados 1st class. So this was, I mean, this is how we all falter a little bit, because what happened to Neville? Neville was really excited. He was like, well, I get to go to Barbados. They're going to take me to Barbados. I don't care if I go third class or first class. I'm going to Barbados. And he was so excited. He ran back to Abdullah, where Abdullah was staying. He was so excited to tell Abdullah the good news. And when he told Abdullah the good news, Abdullah got pissed off. He was pissed. He was mad. And he raised his voice at Neville and he said, no, you didn't go to Barbados third class. You went first class. You were already there. You already went to Barbados. You were already there and you went first class. And he turned his back on Neville and slammed the door in his face. Now, when you really dissect what Abdullah is saying here, it's really the law of belief. Okay, what you see in your imagination, how you played it out in your imagination, already happened and already occurred. That's the power of our imagination. That's the power of our 4D world. This is why I tell you, if you can see yourself in your dream house, it's already happened. It's already occurred. It's already occurred to you. You already have it. You have it in your 4D world. If you can see yourself driving your dream car, it's already happened. It already occurred. If you can see yourself traveling, it already happened, already occurred. This is what Abdullah was saying. If you can see it and hear in your imagination, you can have it in your 3D world because it already happened to you. And this is proven to you every single day. Okay. And you might sit there and say, well, Chad, how is this proven to me? Okay. We use the power of our imagination mostly in our lives for the negative. Okay. We have a job we hate. We don't like people at work. We don't like our boss. All day long, we're going inside our imagination and we're having little negative arguments with people, little negative arguments with our coworker. We're going inside our imagination, seeing how our boss is yelling at us. And we're doing this all day long in this example. And that's exactly what's happening in your life. Or those similar things are happening in your life. So you're using your imagination. It's not like, Chad, I don't know how to use my imagination. You're using your imagination all day long. Like, you really are. Okay. You don't need to go to bed an hour before bedtime and sit in your imagination and imagine something for an hour before you go to sleep to influence your subconscious mind. Okay. You can do this in your 3D world. Okay. But all you need to do is control what you're thinking about, control what you're imagining. If you can control what you're thinking about, controlling what you're imagining, that's what's coming to you. Lots of times we can imagine one thing, one time, with definite purpose. We say we're going to do something, either positive or negative, and it will happen to us. Okay, we can bend reality at will. We can create and have anything that we want, anything we say we want. And friends, let's end it with this. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. Truly I tell you, if you have faith, if you have belief as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. It must move. It must do what you say. Nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. So what you say, it's the same thing. Ask, believe, and receive. Whatever you ask for, believe that you already have it. You live in the end, act as if you already have it, and it must come to you. Okay. What are you asking for? What do you want? How do you want your life to be? Because you can have, be, and do anything that you want in life. Your life can be exactly how you want it to be. You might be disagreeing with me right now if you lasted this long, but you can have anything you want in life. You just have to believe it. You have to stick to it. You have to make a decision and stick to it and persist, and it will happen to you. But other than that, my friends, remember, I love you guys. Comment below. I love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're struggling with this stuff, comment below and let me know, and I'll make other videos or comment back to you. You can also reach out to me. I got links in the description as well, how to work with me, how to get in touch with me. And I got book links in there to help you out as well and recommended videos. But other than that, peace out, blessings to you, and I'll see you in the next video.